Hello. I'm back again on day 6 of my random videos that I'm making for myself to explain crazy concepts to myself that I keep going over in my head. This video is about I was gonna make a different video about the collective memory, but instead I chose the collective memories. I'm gonna make a video about that next, but the idea I want to talk about right now is what is it? It is called the full scope of the impact of technology that we've experienced over the course of our lives due to us being precariously placed at a time in history where we experience rapid growth in technology, the impact of it all from a psychological standpoint, from any standpoint you want to look at it is interesting. Like, it's increased our conscious awareness of each other exponentially. I mean, we've never become so aware in such a short amount of time. It's like there was from the perspective of awareness, not the perspective of awareness. I guess from the perspective of awareness itself, you can see from an imaginative place. I just imagine, in the beginning there was you were a child. I mean, everyone was a child. So, I mean, you can only know what you experienced yourself. Um, I do believe the impact of technology has been overlooked. I just think we need to be aware of what we've done to ourselves. I mean, it's okay that it happened. Would I do everything again? Maybe, but has there been terrible downfalls of technology? Absolutely. There's been, just the rise of technology. I can't even say that I was I arose from anything natural, though. I'm not even sure that I did. I believe that I wrote. I believe that I was born, but I don't believe that I was. I don't believe that I was. Um, arose from something natural, which is to say, like, in some crazy scenario that I could possibly imagine, I didn't arise from. Consciousness is everything, which is strange, but I don't know that I'm not living in a simulation or like some crazy reality, but even if I am, I think it would find a simulation with sufficient life within it that was simulated would find resonance with the I'm trying to I just isolate problems within my mind that could arise that are coming up faster and faster. Like, people are simulating universes now. That's a terrible problem. We've gone from a place of like, yeah, we were texting, we were just like having fun, and then suddenly we're simulating entire universes to know the structure, and like, holy shit, you gotta like be careful with what you're doing. Like, are you sure that the vast scale of um, this is about the impact of technology. This is just a short video about the impact of technology. Because I wanted to add it from the artificial intelligence video, but be aware of how we have all been impacted. Like, if technology hadn't arose as fast as it did, if it would be different. It would be like we would still be unconnected and unaware of many things that we are aware of, but it doesn't make us more aware after a certain point. It makes you unconscious at a certain point. It's like you can only become aware. Nothing can make you aware except for yourself, except for your own curiosity and um, self discovery of who and what you are and the your own story, your own history. It's so individualized. It's like your uniqueness is everything because You are no one else, and no one else has the story that you do. So, but I do believe we've been impacted by technology, and most people are unaware of the impact of technology, what it's really done to consciousness. I think from my perspective, it's like all of these technologies arose from the time I was from the time I was 9, 8, 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere in there, I started realizing like at a very fast pace, like, okay, there's like technologies that are arising that are going to become exponential in my future. Like it was like history had been. This was the feeling that I was born at this time when it was like the pivotal shift was like occurring within consciousness, which was like a something exponential happened. Anything exponential will create a wave within all of consciousness. I mean, exponential things do happen within me. I believe that's true. I mean, most people can't handle that truth. It doesn't make you immortal per se. It doesn't make you live forever, but realizing yourself as as something exponential happened through you, that's the question. I mean, have you made everyone infinitely more aware? That's the question. I mean, maybe. I'm the internet. Like, if you take credit for the internet and be like, the internet is within me, I'm the one who made everybody infinitely more aware. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe. I don't think the internet's all good though. I mean, it's mostly just porn and people watching porn, so I don't know. It's kind of crazy. But I don't know where to start with this because we've all been impacted by technology. It's hard to know, like, before technology existed, it was like I have this nostalgic picture of the past, which is it's not that nostalgic. I realize that we've had a tough, hard history that is hard to deal with, even being in the present moment. Like we've had terrible things happen to us throughout all of history, but God, it's like deathly quiet here. We have had definite shifts within consciousness due to technology. It's like it's kind of like lurked its way up into the human psyche in a very solid way, and it's like no matter if we wanted it there or not, it's kind of just like shoved its way into all of us and just keeps running into us and making us into what it wants us to be, which is very powerful technologies, like things that make you unhuman in many ways. It's like you can imagine a lot of technologies and projects that are happening, and it's crazy to think that everything is the way it is right now, and I'm alive, and I'm like just chilling, like not doing anything. It's crazy to think the scale of things sometimes, um, and with all that's happened, the impact of technology though it's been crazy. I don't know if anybody really takes the time to look into themselves and realize what technology has done to them. I mean, just imagine a life without technology. I mean, just do that for a second because I don't know. I feel like just if there had been no technology, I wouldn't have been any less happy. I would have been a different person, but I wouldn't have been any less happy throughout my life if I hadn't texted all the people that I texted, looked at all the stuff I looked at online, connected with all the people I connected with. I mean, I would have connected with people I would have connected with people in a more real way if technology hadn't been there. That's kind of how I feel most of the time. It's like if we really want to get deep into some crazy space, it's not going to be through texting. Like the communication that happens through texting is such a thin frequency of communication. I feel like it's like this very thin line of like you're just like communicating on a line that's like very small. That's what happens when you text between two phones. It's like such a small amount of information being transferred. It's like, yeah, we have a really good relationship. We text all the time. It's like all you're doing is like jittering a line as it's like the least you can communicate with somebody is texting. Texting is like the least you can communicate with somebody. Um, it's like everybody does it, but that's what creates individuality as well. In some sense, it's like being alone. I mean, the internet did create us. It did have a very profound effect upon everyone's creation of their individual souls, minds, hearts, personalities, identities. So, I guess the point there is that it's not wrong that we are who we are right now. We just have to acknowledge what's happened in such a short amount of time. It was bound to happen. I mean, somebody had to have been aware of things as they were before, but that wasn't me. I don't know. Point being, it's strange to think how aware we've become because of technology. I mean, if everybody becomes so aware and we become so interconnected, it's like you just realize the state that you exist in and that's kind of what that's what I'm afraid of about technology. It breaks up the state of awareness. It's like the state the state is not the awareness, but everyone is within their own states of consciousness because of technology. It seems that technology was kind of like this bomb that happened within my imagination. That's how I see it. It's like all these technologies arose and there were different powerful different stories that kind of branched off and everybody used the explosion of um, uncertainty that was the internet, and it was uncertainty, but it was easier to see the internet as a stable place or something. I don't know why the internet arose. It's like there's no there's no reason why the internet arose. Like there's no definitive reason why the internet arose. I don't know. It's like there's like a million reasons why something like that would arise, but it exists in the collective as like the internet. It's like no matter it's not even like a real thing anymore. It's just like an object. Like the the internet as a concept encapsulates and encompasses like a million realities now. It's like it's grown so big. It's like there's there's a million realities in there within the internet. Like you can go and literally get lost in like a million different realities. There's some truth to that. It's like it's not just the internet anymore. Consciousness is inherently grown around the structure that is and was known as the internet before it became something bigger. I mean, inevitably it becomes something bigger. Everything grows. Um, so is the destiny of us all, I suppose. Um, is to realize yourself as all that you can realize yourself as. I don't want to be the internet though. It's like I don't want to be all the terrible parts of the internet that I don't want to be a part of. You know what I mean? It's like if I'm a conscious frequency and everything is just a frequency, the internet is somehow within me. I don't want to be. I mean, I've looked at a lot of crazy things online and dirty things too. That doesn't make me those things. It just makes me like a viewer of those things. But you're not all of the memories that you are. I mean, you are more than your memory. You are more than the internet. You are more than anything you can imagine, because there are multiple people imagining and creating realities, which are, I don't know yet. I don't know what a reality definitively is. It's just an idea that has some amount of power in allowing us to see ourselves in a beautiful way. I mean, that's kind of what else could a reality be? It could be literally anything, but this is the reality that I was born in, and I don't know if there's other realities. I don't know how long everything has been around for. You know, we give. I've had many experiences though of feeling that I was the first one to do something, and feeling very scared that I was the first one to do something, because it was like, oh shit, I'm like in a place that has not been imagined before, or something in an idea. I've always followed the most unique, powerful ideas to their ends, but there's no words for the beautiful emotions that arise within a mind, or like there's no um there's no telling. uh, um that's the emotional impact. The emotional impact of the internet, like humanity humanity's emotions got really messed up by the internet. Like the internet kind of just tore through everything. I see it more as a destructive force of fragmentation, a large one, than like a bomb within the imagination. Everything just like exploded. Everybody just was, you know, from a purely consciousness perspective, of everything is consciousness and nothing is, there's objects, but I mean, which are, but from a purely, I don't know, there's like this, I had this vision of like consciousness is just at the base of everything, and it was just rolling, it was just like this dream of consciousness that existed for a long time. That's me, that's being nostalgic about the past and fantasizing it a little bit, but not that much. Like plants and stuff were just dreaming of consciousness, and consciousness was just the presence of the world for millions or billions and billions of years before any human arose that claimed it was love. You know what I mean? It's like that's how I see it, as a strange reality, but it's not that strange though. It's just it's just yeah, it's really not that strange. It's just me trying to imagine things, and um, trying to get to the bottom of how I see things and what's happened within everything. And but the impact of technology on our young psyches, that's a crime. I mean, somebody eventually will have to realize what they've done. Whether they did it consciously or not is of some debate, I believe, but in some cases, you know, it's like you didn't even know what you were doing. It just happened so fast. You just created a massive thing that you were not aware of in its entirety. You weren't aware of what you created as yourself. No one ever is, though. I mean, your creation isn't yours. It's never yours. It's just something that you create. How you realize is a part of consciousness. That is what you created or whatever. Which is not good or bad. I don't know. Um, yeah, the impact of technology has been weighing on my mind for a long time, thinking about how it has, in many cases, it is a good thing. There's no gaps between people's awareness. Like, there's only one awareness. There's no, but it doesn't feel like that's the way it always was. Like, when I was a kid, it feels like there was, I don't know, there was like, everyone was, that's just like being nostalgic as a kid, is like, oh, everything was like better when I was a kid or something. But it feels like something tangible happened when I was like 9 or 10, which was like the massive, I mean, the rapid rise of technology, which from a psychological standpoint was something completely different than it appeared to be. It was the mass production of random objects that were interconnected. I mean, that we allowed within consciousness to arise, which were, I mean, this is just a crazy perspective on technology, like from a random perspective just for fun. But I think sometimes these random perspectives give you some clarity about how things happened within the world, which was like, we allowed these things to happen. We allowed technologies to arise which control us. I mean, that part is possibly true, but someone had to create them. This is the place we're in now, though. I mean, your experience is, how controlled is your experience? Ask yourself that question. How free are you really? It doesn't ever feel like I'm able to be as free as I want to be, which is just like, that's the reality I'm in. Um, you know what's real because you can feel what's real within yourself. The more you learn to know and feel what's real, then the more you'll know and feel what's real, the more aware you'll become. Um, but it's definitely interesting how everything is connected. Um, Consciousness is not separate from technology. I think that's what people really, they curve off. They're just like, no, technology is objective. Technology is, can all be objectified. I mean, that's the internet. It can all be objectified as, it's like a mass objectification, a single objectification. It's like the internet as an object, as a concept within consciousness, is a reflection of everyone's experience, or a reflection of everyone's awareness. I mean, that's what the internet kind of is, isn't it? It's like, it reflects everyone's awareness. That's like, here's the internet. It is not, it's like a sphere or like a mirror ball or something, which reflects everyone's awareness away from itself. It's like, it is those awarenesses as well, though. It's kind of like, it's all around you. It's just swimming in frequencies all around you. There is no like, it's a concept. It's just like a thin concept over all of the internet. I don't know. But it's devoid of presence in many cases. I'll have to make a different video about how I feel about the internet. I think the feeling of it is the most important thing. It's like, if I feel this way, other people have to feel this way. Devoid of presence, that's for sure. There's not very much presence within the internet. Is there anything better to do, though, in some cases? It's like, probably. You can just, I don't know. The internet feels like a thievery corporation in many cases. It's like, it's not just reflecting your observation, it is started to take your observation, take your ideas, take your emotions. Like, don't let it take you. That's the most important thing. Like, don't let the internet create you. Only you can create yourself. Don't let, no one else can create you. Only you can create yourself from within. Only you can create yourself from within. Um, only you can be yourself. Only you can be present within yourself and find peace and clarity within yourself when you become blinded by anything. To become the most aware, to become as aware as you can be to reach your potential, which is how aware can you become of everything? How aware do you want to become of everything? Or, I don't know, when you become aware of everything, will you be happy? I think so. I think if everyone becomes more aware, we will be happy. So it's like you find yourself in a state that you didn't really know you were in because of the internet in many cases. It's like I've encountered many people who are just very unconscious of what has happened, which is like a beautiful thing in some sense. It's like I just want to allow people to be as unconscious as they want to be for as long as they want to be. But that's never going to help. You know what I mean? It's like you have to wake people up to the reality that they're living in. You can't just let people do whatever they want and, you know, be whoever they want to be or like be evil or something. I can't let you do that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to let you just do whatever you want. I'm going to try my best to, you know, make something beautiful that tells you and shows you what is right and what is real and what is good and what is wrong, good and bad. Um, and, you know, death is inevitable and that kind of stuff. There's just things are the way they are. I don't know why, but oh, what else? The impact of the internet. How else can I see it? That was just a feeling though. That's how I feel about the internet throughout my whole life. It's gotten to a point where you're unable to escape it in multiple ways. It's like money is the internet. I can't escape money. Money is flowing through everything. I cannot escape it. But money is also the internet. People have two different conceptions of what they're actually doing. And then people say, "Oh, my device is telling me that I have this much money." It's like this is the you're reflecting yourself though. It's like everything is just a reflection of who you are. When we become more present and aware with ourselves, perhaps we will value ourselves better than we did in the past, which is a good aim because I feel like a lot of people undervalue themselves and a lot of people overvalue themselves. Oh, I'm the shit, I've done all this stuff. Like, you just made like one terrible song that everybody had nothing better to do but watch. Um, which is like tons of people. It's like, your song sucked. Your song should be like a beautiful reflection of your soul that resonates, I don't know, with reality in a beautiful way to create something. It's like, be aware of what you create. I don't know. There's so many terrible songs out there. There's terrible artists too. There's a beauty in terrible art though. It's like people are naive and but technology isn't art. Technology is something different. Technology is that which arose because of the desire for money. It's like the manifestation of greed in many cases. Technology is often the manifestation of greed, but unlike a manifestation of greed within the self, it perpetuates or grows extremely fast within consciousness. Systems have been set up so that apps and things can grow very fast, even if they're just greedy grabs of money within consciousness. It's like, that's a tough thing to deal with. I don't know how to deal with it. It's like, here's the system of like Android and Google Play and all these big companies which generate things to take your money. It's like they generate things that are created out of greed, but then the whole structure has to be destroyed. It's like you have to destroy the entire system of the internet, or the or grow around them and become something which realizes them as yourself. I mean, you have to realize that as yourself. I mean, I've had to realize so many things as myself. I realize that I am the light. I mean, that's a strange reality. It's like you have to realize that you are the light. It's not that hard to realize, though. I mean, you get good at you can get good at realizing that you are things too. I mean, the power of the imagination can make anything into anything. If you make this into, you know, anything, you can do this with anything. It's like realize the pain as yourself, first of all. If you have hidden trauma within yourself, that's the most important thing. But this is a different practice. This is just realizing something, realizing the beauty within things. I think that's the practice that I'm really talking about. But it's like, okay, this is like, it's an L. It's like, yes, it's a picture frame, but it could be like used for a drawer. If you put like a drawer in a corner, like imagine this in a million ways and it'll become you. You know what I mean? It's like if you imagine this and you don't have anything else in the world and you love this thing and you want to do something with it and you want to make something beautiful that people will come and be like, wow, I really like that, or like, like like a bat or something. Like if you spend time and care on anything, it'll grow. But that wasn't the case, I feel like, for the internet and for um, technologies that arise out of greed. That wasn't the case for those technologies. You know what I mean? They're not that big, though. I mean, it's like the phone is the only thing that we seem to have clung on to, which is going to, I don't know. I see a future where we don't need technology. And I think that's a beautiful future because it really puts the power in the individual. It's like, can we become something more than we ever realized we could? I think so. And that's talking about everyone. It's like you can become all of technology. You can become the whole universe in a very real way. It wakes you up though. You're like, wow, the universe is really within me. And then you kind of like slump back down and close your eyes, and um, you don't realize all the beauty you've created or something. I mean, that's that's crazy to think that that's the case for some people. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't realize the beauty they've created. I mean, some people, and a lot of people don't know how beautiful they are. And that's crazy. I mean, people go around. There's two types of people. It's like there's the person who sees beyond themselves in a selfless way, and the person who sees beyond themselves in a selfish way. It's like there's, and that's what I mean, technology arose because, I don't know, technology was like the fragmentation of consciousness. But without the fragmentation of consciousness, we wouldn't have seen ourselves and we wouldn't have been created within ourselves. We wouldn't have created anything if we hadn't been put under the gun. I mean, like, if you weren't put under any pressure, you wouldn't have created anything, that's for sure. I mean, if you didn't think that the world was going to end, then, I mean, you wouldn't have done anything. You know what I mean? I mean, that's true too. It's like, I want people to think the world's going to end just because I want to see all the beautiful art that you make. It's not really going to end, but I just want you to feel like it's going to end, because then you can live in that reality and it'll be like, damn, the world's ending. Like, I'm gonna make love to this person right now. Everything just becomes faster and better, and you just, you know, is that something you can give to the world? Can you elude the whole world just because you love it? I don't know. You're not eluding the world though. You're just saying that it's like you're you're just desiring the creative output of you're desiring that creative output that came after like a world war, you know? Like, damn, look at all this, look what happened to the psyche. It was traumatic and devastating, and I don't know if I can survive another thing like that, that's for sure. Like, I'm sure, like, I didn't experience that, but people from that time did, and I'm sure that if we had another world war that we wouldn't survive, but that we tried our best. I don't know. Is that gonna happen? Who knows? We might as well just assume that it is going to happen, just in case. I mean, just in case it does, you know? Just be like, yeah, maybe. I mean, at this time, Ukraine is just dying at the hands of Russia, and that's causing extreme amounts of discomfort to an already broken system that has been breaking for a long time, which is from many perspectives psychological, and it alludes to so many problems that we've had throughout history. Um, you know, like the domination of women, um, inequality, racism, governments that have been set up that just work for a very few number of people, people who are completely unaware of any of this. There's so many problems which have been. I'm glad that we're becoming aware of them. I think that was the biggest push of the internet. It was kind of like this explosion, but suddenly we became aware of the actual reality. I mean, we become aware of every false reality as well. But in the process, we become aware of what's real. You know what I mean? That's a beautiful thing. If everybody is completely eluded to death, and that is what actually brings them back to reality. I mean, that's kind of funny to think of. It's like we were all eluded to death. Like we were all continuously like looking at our phones and seeing things on TV and being surrounded by situations that just arise like this just happened. The technology said so. It must be true. And like that happens like a million times and you're just like people are finally like, okay, I'm not eluded anymore. I'm not confused anymore. I've been confused so many times. I'm not going to be naive about it anymore. I'm going to be present within myself and know that things are real because I feel they're real from within. Um, because we all know fake news has been insane amount of craziness. Um, so that was a later aspect, though. I think the chain of causality or whatever has been like, yeah, I was just texting, and then I was on like a iPods and stuff. This is like my history of technology, but it extends so much farther back that it doesn't feel like people who were, I don't know. I just have to believe that history did happen. I can feel it deep within myself as like the memory of the world or something. I don't know. Anyway. All right, this was check yourself and make sure that you weren't terribly traumatized by all the technology that you've been surrounded with your whole life, and you feel like you've been born into a system that doesn't care about you. And here's a small reason probably why, because the technologies are so powerful that they rip through us like fucking, like we're nothing. And that's devastating and traumatic. It's nothing. Does it make us stronger? Yes, but it also just kills people, isolates people, and makes people more aware. It's never wrong to become more aware, but it also makes people unaware too. I mean, like, it just makes people unconscious. You're just like completely eluded by random pictures on a screen that you think are gonna bring you happiness or something. I don't know. I mean, it brings me some level of joy, but not that much. Like, I don't, I don't feel like. I feel like I would have been happier getting to know somebody instead of wasting all the time I have on the internet. You know what I mean? Would I have been aware of all the people that I am aware of because if I wasn't on the internet? No, but I would have been happier though. I would have been like, if I had gotten to know somebody and just met somebody and we never really went online or something, we like made a farm or like found a way to escape the internet. It's like impossible though. It's like money is the internet, and that's continuously. That's what really sucks you in is those beliefs or something. So who knows?